Being in quarantine changes a lot about our life, and one of those things is the cooking and the grocery shopping and the meal planning and all of the food stuff. Now, I have noticed a lot of changes in the way that I meal plan. I've changed the way I approach my meal planning, and I found it to be really effective and helpful for my situation right now. So I wanted to share that with you and give you some ideas for your own meal planning. Or maybe you've never really meal planned before, but now you're finding that you do need a little bit of structure just to help you figure all this stuff out. I'm gonna be sharing with you what I'm doing and just some tips to help you make it work. Now, before we get into everything, if you do happen to be new here, hi, my name is Sarah and I'm a registered dietitian, and this whole channel is about food and nutrition stuff. So if you're into that sort of thing, then make sure that you subscribe. Now, when we're talking about meal planning, I am going to be showing you my actual meal plans so you can see what I have going on. But I think the big number one thing to think about when you're getting started is finding a system that works for you. So I like to do mine on paper in a dedicated notebook that's just for my meal plans. That's what's worked for me. But you might have a different situation. Maybe you like to do it on your phone or on your computer, or maybe you like to do it in your planner or bullet journal or whatever, along with all of your other lists and plans and everything. It doesn't matter. This will work no matter what kind of system you use, but you just need to find one that works for you, that you like, that makes sense to you, so that you can use it and so that it's as helpful for you as possible. Another thing you want to keep in mind right now is having recipes that use fresh ingredients, but also having recipes that rely on a lot of pantry staples or things that are going to hang out for a while in your fridge and not go bad. Because since we're spacing out our grocery trips so far apart, for me, I'm trying to do minimum 2 weeks, and if I can stretch it longer, I am. That means that, you know, you gotta have stuff that's gonna be there when you're hitting the end of that 2 weeks or whatever the time period is for you, so that you can use it and you don't have a bunch of stuff that's going bad and going to waste because you never got around to it because, you know, it just couldn't last that long. So that's another strategy to think about when you're thinking about the things you want to make, is having some things that use fresh things so you can enjoy those fresh foods when you are doing grocery shopping, but then also having those recipes that rely on things that are going to last a little bit longer so you can make sure that you're going to have something to eat. Something else to think about with your meal planning right now is what can you make that maybe you couldn't make before. So whether you're a new cook or a more experienced one, there may be meals that in the past would have only been for the weekend or special occasion, not necessarily because they take more effort, but just maybe the timing doesn't work out. They might be simple to do, but maybe it requires something to marinate or cook and then cool and then be used for something else. Whatever it is, you know, you might have those things. And now, especially if you are working from home, but even if you're not, if you're just, you know, if you are going into work because you have to, but you're still not having all these social engagements and whatever else, you might find that you have a little bit more room in your schedule for those recipes that require you to be around and kind of hanging out a little bit more. So those are some broad overview things to think about, but now let's talk about my specific meal planning and show you my notebook and what I've been doing. Now, I do have a video on meal planning, and I'll link that for you if you want to see more about how my old meal planning worked, but I just use this kind of spiral top notebook. And the way I used to do it is I'd have the week that I was planning for, I'd list the days of the week and fill in what we were going to have each day. And that worked well because, you know, some nights, you know, maybe I'm teaching a class and so I'm not making dinner that night, but I need to, you know, have something at the house for Jason that's leftovers, or something that he wants to make and pull together on his own because I'm going to be teaching a class and eating with the people there, that sort of thing. So I would break it out, and sometimes things would change, things would get moved around if the week changed, but you know, it helped to have that structure. Now, I don't really need that, so this is what I'm doing. So instead of planning for every single night, I'm doing just a list of recipes. So for 2 weeks, what I've been doing is planning 10 recipes, because then that leaves in nights for where we might do takeout from a place, or maybe we, you know, make like a frozen pizza or something else, or we have leftovers or something. So, you know, we don't have too much stuff, and also so I can fit it in my fridge, because that is an issue when you're trying to buy so much food at once. But I list out my 10 recipes, I put a little check box next to them, and then, you know, it's kind of like pick what you want to do. If I'm looking at dinner for the next night or the next few days, I look at the list and kind of see how I want to do it. So like salad night, that is the first night after I grocery shop, because that's lots of fresh stuff that is, you know, can go bad quickly, so we want to use that up. So that's an example. Whereas some other things like this recipe here, the bok choy noodles with shrimp. That's something the bok choy can hang out in the fridge for a little longer, so that doesn't have to be made right away. And the noodles and the sauces and stuff are all pantry things, and the shrimp's in the freezer. So I make this list, and then as I make something throughout the 2 weeks or more, if I'm able to stretch it like this, we are past this date now, but I still haven't had to go to the store yet. So I just check it off, and then so this really helps me because I can look and see, okay, what do I have left that I have the things for, and kind of how do I need to prioritize it. And then this is, the dinner section, and I don't plan lunches because we do leftovers for lunch because we're 2 people. I just cook a meal for 4 to 6, and then we have enough. For your family, might be different, but I think the same principles can apply. I then do a little line, and this is where I put things down here that are more like things to make that just hang around in the house. So it's not for a specific meal, but like making banana bread. So we use up our extra bananas, and we can have this for breakfast or snacks or desserts or whatever. Making a quiche, so I have a breakfast option that's ready to go. Not everything gets made. I still haven't made these chocolate chip cookies. These are on my list. I still haven't made these sticky buns, but this helps me divide out the dinners and then also any extra things I want to make just because they're fun or to have around for other meals or whatever. And I have been loving this because it still gives me the structure of, meal planning and knowing what I'm going to have, and it helps with grocery shopping. When you're not trying to mess around, when you're trying to limit your trips, you want to know what you need and to be able to get it and then not have to go back and get random stuff. So it gives me that structure, but also the flexibility that I need as well. Because, since we're not going anywhere and Jason and I are both working from home, it doesn't really matter what day it is, honestly. Very little changes depending on the day of the week. So it's more helpful to just have the list and be able to look at it and then work with it and figure out what do we feel like now, what makes sense based on what we need to move out of the fridge and get cooked. Do we feel like cooking? Do we have leftovers that need to get incorporated? Whatever. It's kind of that sweet spot for me in terms of knowing what we're gonna do, but also not really needing to know what we're gonna do too much. And like I mentioned, if your family's a little bit different, if you need to plan breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or lunches and dinners, or whatever, I still really think the system can apply. You can just kind of list out ideas for each category, and it is going to help you with your grocery shopping too, because you can make a detailed list, make sure you have everything, and then you can really do those limited grocery trips and also spend as little time in the grocery store as you have to. Get in there, get what you need, and get out because you know exactly what you need to make the things that you want to make. I think this is also helpful when you're doing your inventory as far as things you need to have stocked up in case you really can't go to the store, depending on what's going on in your specific area, or if someone in your home is diagnosed with the virus or anything like that. It also helps you to be able to assess what you have and prevent overbuying, because when you're in the store, it can really feel like, oh man, do we need that? I don't know. Or you see that something is not around and you're like, oh, maybe I need to buy that. But when you have a list and you know exactly what you need and exactly what you have and have backups of, it helps you to not overbuy and take something off the shelf that you don't need but that someone else may need. So it helps in that way too. And I'd love to hear in the comments what types of systems are working for you, things that you've tried maybe similar to this, or things that are different if you have found some things that really work for you, because I would love to hear it, but I know everyone else would love to hear it too, because everyone is in a little bit different situation, and hearing about what's working for you might really be helpful for someone else. And if you happen to be new here and you want more healthy eating tips and nutrition info and videos like this one, then make sure that you subscribe, because eating healthy and living a healthy lifestyle really doesn't have to be complicated, and I want to show you how to do it. And if you want to watch some more videos, I have a couple linked over here that you might like. Thanks for watching. I hope that you're having a great day and that you're staying home and staying safe, and I'll talk to you in the next one.